Hello guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls. It's me, Big Mike, and I'm coming at you with a bit of a unique video. So last week my mouth spelled on me, and so I didn't know what the situation was going to be like coming into this video. So I wanted to do a video that wasn't too heavy. And so I decided to do a Q&A video. And because most of these questions come from my main Mothman, Loot Moth, I've decided to call this the Mothman Interview. So with that, let's jump into the questions, fam. The first question Loot asks, I'd like to know your take on alternative social medias, like Blue Sky and Mastodon, and how you believe they should move forward to actually compete with Twitter. Thanks for the question. I'm a huge supporter of alternative social media platforms, and I believe it's important for people to have a choice in selecting social media. I've been supporting alternative social media since 2012 or 2013. So I used to use a site called Mind Talk. It's now defunct now, I believe. But so that's my really first experience with alternative social media. Unless maybe you want to count, is it Vampire Diaries? There was some like edgy like MySpace alternative dealing with vampires I used to use back in the day, but I didn't really use it so much. But so I guess maybe we can count 2006 as my first entry into alternative social media. But anyway, I was reintroduced to the concept back in 2022 thanks to my best friend, Honk Flap, who introduced me to Counter Social. I set up my Counter Social when Twitter decided to shadow ban me for a few days during 2022, and I would recommend not doing what I did. Don't wait until disaster strikes. Make one today. And there are going to be some sacrifices you're going to have to make. And one hard pill to swallow is that no matter which one of these platforms you move to, it's likely not going to have all the people you follow or all of your friends you have on one of the other major social media platforms. As far as moving forward, this one's a bit tricky. Many of the things that make these alternative social media platforms attractive would likely be changed or need to be changed directly or indirectly in order to grow. For example, many love the fact that these platforms are ran without an algorithm. I mean, how big can you get without an algorithm before you need something to help you to kind of police it or to streamline it so people who are interested in certain topics can see the topics they're interested in. Another attractive thing would be the lawlessness. Many people are attracted to kind of the Old West type of feel to some of these platforms where kind of anything goes. And there are good aspects of that, and there are also bad aspects to that as well. But in order to grow, it's going to have to change that. A lot of people will not feel comfortable going to a platform that has, a lot of hate speech on it, or has terrorist activity or CP. I was going to join an alternative social media platform. I'm not going to say the name. But I was really discouraged when I saw how much anti-Semitic material was there. And so I just stopped altogether. Because I don't want to be associated with anything like that. And I can't imagine I'm the only one who feels that way. And I do love the lawlessness. I do love the lawlessness of such sites like I loved old YouTube, for example, where it seemed like almost anything went. Like you could have episodes of, copyrighted content like anime or The Simpsons or Family Guy or what have you uploaded in 3 parts because of time limits, but still uploaded without any issues. People would upload music videos, they would make AMVs, and it would be fine. But as time progressed, this lawlessness came to an end. And I do love that lawlessness feel, but unfortunately, I can't see a way of maintaining that while also keeping away people who are, post, this hate speech, who are terrorists, who post CP and other undesirable material. And lastly, some have a small town, almost neighborly feel to it. Like Counter Social. That's one of the things I really love about it. But how do you maintain that feeling, when the site grows? So that's really the big thing right there. Now, not counting money, the biggest obstacle, of course, is going to be attracting people. Now, one thing I think we can do to get people to join these sites is to show that they're more stable and that they have people who are reliable at the helm. So I think that might be something that can be done here. But beyond that, I'm not really sure. But this is a good question to think about. Next, he asks, of all the UFO research you've done, what evidence do you find the most compelling? For me, it's the whistleblowers, namely Grush and the one who remained anonymous that spoke to Michael Schellenberger. Now, first, it's due to the fact that how trustworthy these individuals are. For example, our nation trusted Grush with our nation's most sensitive information, so we could trust him with nuclear codes and such, but now we can't trust him? So because of that, I do to put stock into what he's saying. Secondly, and probably much more importantly, is that a lot of the things that he said has been verified. For example, he said that there were aerospace contractors who seemed to be able to work outside of the law. And then you have Boeing this past summer silencing its whistleblowers. In a very close second would be the experiences related to military pilots who have had encounters. And for some of these, like the Eglin Air Force Base encounter, we have radar data to back up the pilot testimony that something was up there, and whatever it was, disabled the fighter jet's electrical systems. A close third will be all of the encounters that have happened near nuclear sites, especially those in the 1930s and 40s before UFO entered popular culture. In a similar vein, I would also include the telegrams from fascist Italy of Mussolini's government issuing decrees via telegram about how the press should handle a UFO crash. That is, if those documents are proven to be authentic. So this is the most compelling evidence I've came across. Now, one thing I do want to throw in that I kind of forgot to mention is that sometimes people will say, oh, well, the whistleblowers, they're just disinformation agents. So, you can't trust them. And my reply to that would be, well, if there's nothing to hide, what's the point of using disinformation agents? So I believe there's something has to be there. So whether these people are speaking the truth, as I believe they are, or they are in fact disinformation agents, I believe that points to the fact that there is something there. Now, in regards to aliens, some people, they lump these together, but I think aliens existing or life in the universe existing and UFOs or UAP visiting our planet are two very different things, but sometimes people do lump them together. So if, just in case you're asking about alien life, I do believe that exists, definitely without a shadow of a doubt. But it really just depends on the nature of the universe. If the universe is truly infinite, then there definitely has to be life somewhere out there beyond here. Now maybe it's just, well, actually no, I take that back. There's definitely life out there, and there's going to be advanced life. It might take us a long time to meet it, a long time to get there. There might be an impassable amount of distance between us, but they definitely exist because things can only go together a certain amount of times before things start to repeat themselves. So if space is infinite and you go far enough in space, you're going to come across another Earth, another Lutmoth, another Mike. But again, this just depends on the nature of the universe. If the universe is finite, I still believe because of the size there could be life out there somewhere. Now life here, it could be intelligent life, or even more intelligent than we know, or it could be, like farm animals like space cows or space lions. It could be cellular organisms. But I definitely believe that, life is out there somewhere. I'm much more convinced of that than I am that it's visiting us. But I also do believe, I would say 75% convinced that it is visiting us. Next, he asks, where do you see the future of gaming going? Will we ever reach a point where consoles are phased out entirely? I see mainstream games as becoming more and more like interactive movies or stories, but I see indie games as continuing to be the torchbearers of the golden era of gaming. Both of those seem to be trends from the past up into the present, and I don't really see that changing very much. Now, in regards to consoles, I don't think consoles are going anywhere anytime soon, at least not in our lifetime. I do believe at some point there will come a time in which consoles may no longer be a thing. But I think that's going to be a result of either technology changing so much or the result of our view of gaming changing. But for the time being, I don't think consoles are going anywhere, again, at least not in our lifetimes. Now, this is barring any type of economic situation. Like, for example, let's say something happens to one of the big three, Microsoft, Nintendo, or Sony. Like what happened to Sega. I mean, if something like that happens, it can happen multiple times. That would be like the one thing. But I think the odds are against that happening because that would have to happen multiple times and not just once. And what's to stop a competitor from coming in to fill in that void? Like what we saw with Microsoft entering the console race after, kind of filling in the void after Sega had dropped out. So in order for that to happen, I feel like in order for people to stop using consoles or consoles to stop being a thing for economic reasons, I think it would have to be a dire economic situation. So I don't think anything's going to happen in our lifetimes. I mean, when it does happen, it's going to be because either technology changes or our view of gaming has changed. And his last question is, what are your ultimate goals for your YouTube channel? What do you want to accomplish? So I really don't have any goals for my channel. I just want to be authentic. I don't want it to be the most authentic Mike I could possibly be. I want to make friends with a lot of people. I want to learn. Learning is very, very, important to me. So I want to learn a lot. And I also want to have fun too. A lot of times the videos I really enjoy the most are adventures I go on. They're videos I go into, I have absolutely no idea how they're going to end. And those are very exciting for me. So I guess if I had a goal, I guess it would be to make more videos like that. But I really have no idea that a video is going to be like that until I start doing my research. So yeah, it's kind of hard to set a goal for that. Also, there are videos I do want to make. The videos I want to make that I haven't made yet, that I hope I will get the chance to in the future. This year has actually been a good year of videos like that. Like, for example, this year was my first year making a video on the Sonic hacking contest. I've been wanting to do a video like that since I started being a YouTuber. Another good example would be my video on five of my favorite sites to get free and legal books from. And speaking of which, I guess maybe some other goals I could talk about for my channel would be that videos I want to make. Like, I would love to do another video featuring 5 of my free and legal favorite book websites. Because I have at least another 2 videos worth of sites I could use, maybe more. Also, I would love this year to do a video on Public Domain Day, talking about the titles, the works, movies, videos, books, and such that are entering the public domain this year, or I guess technically next year, since Public Domain Day is January 1st. So, but anyway, I would love to do a video for that. I've been wanting to do one, for a couple years now since I found out Public Domain Day was a thing. So, but that's really it. That's really the goals I have. There are a couple videos I want to make. But beyond that, I just want to make friends, have fun with the friends I already have, go on adventures in my videos, and just learn. And beyond that, I don't really have any goals. I like to try to keep a broad horizon as much as possible. And I hate trying to put myself into a box or into a corner, because whenever that happens, I feel smothered. And I'll eventually, unfortunately, suffer a burnout and have to take some time away. So I want to try my best to avoid that. Also, thank you for all your questions today. This really actually, you actually came through. You came through and saved this video for me. So I really do appreciate that, fam. So the next 3 questions all come from my main Jaguar man, Zarkon. And the first question he asks, who do you believe took down the Internet Archive? Honestly, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, fam. I could easily believe the hacker group who claimed responsibility really did so for the reasons they claimed they did. So they claimed to have done so because they believed, wrongly, that the Internet Archive was owned and operated by the United States government. And specifically, they did so because the United States government supports Israel, and they are protesting the genocide of the Gazans, or the Palestinians. And for those who don't know, the Internet Archive is a private charity that has no connection to any government anywhere in the world. Even more so, the Wayback Machine has been used to archive many of the atrocities committed against the Palestinian people. So many of the war crimes that have been posted online have been backed up and have been saved as evidence using the Wayback Machine. And this has led people to believe that There's no way somebody could legitimately be that stupid. And I'm here to tell you, fam, after working in retail for close to 6 or 7 years, people can in fact be that stupid. So I have no problem believing they really did this for the reasons they said they did. People are in fact that ignorant. Though that being said, the more conspiratorial side of me can definitely see why a government or a corporation would want to take the Internet Archive out. On the one hand, it's used to document things via the Wayback Machine. And there are so many books in the archive, from all ages of history, and knowledge is power. On the other hand, many corporations would like to probably see it taken out as well because, for many people, it's a source of entertainment. People play games, they watch movies, they listen to music on the Internet Archive. Many people, such as myself, get books from the Internet Archive. I can't even tell you the last time I paid for a book. And I love reading. I make a habit to read almost every day. But I get most of my books from the Internet Archive and similar sites. So I could definitely see why many entities would want to take it out. I mean, if you can't get what you want for free, that means you'd have to pay for it. Or to go deeper down into the conspiratorial rabbit hole, he who controls knowledge controls the world. So if, people can't have access to alternative sources of knowledge or historical sources, they can't fact check anything. They have no idea of what you're saying is true or false. So if you can take away people's access to information or free information or historic information, you can feed them whatever you want them to know, and they'll have very little recourse to question it. And a good example of this is what we see in technology today. Most people who grew up with computers in the 90s, 2000s, we know how to use things like a file explorer, for example. It's like second nature to us. But if you give somebody a computer or smartphone who never grew up with that, and all they have are these external apps or these apps you install that does all that for you, they don't know how to navigate it. That information is lost, and they don't know what's lost information, so they don't know to go looking for it. And I feel like something similar could happen if you take away the Internet Archive and similar libraries and such. Next, Zara asks, where do you see the future of digital preservation going? I don't have a lot of faith in this, to be honest with you. I see a lot of it going underground in order to preserve things. So there have been a couple of cases happen recently to kind of attack preservation. One such issue was there was a group who were attempting to get legislation passed or an exemption made for video game preservation, but unfortunately it was struck down because the video game industry believed that people having access to these classic games and being able to play them would be a threat to their income, that nobody would want to play modern gaming, which is bullshit, I'm sure. So I really believe in order for digital preservation or any type of media preservation to be effective and to be long-lasting, we seriously need copyright reform. I mentioned this, many times before in our conversations. In the United States Constitution, the original term for copyright only lasted 14 years, with the possibility of a renewal for another 14 years after that. And I think that's fair. I think that's a fair term. But, since then, because of many corporations, namely the House of Mouse, have extended the hell out of that term, so now it's something like 90 years, which is not what the founding fathers envisioned when they founded our country. So long story short, in order for digital preservation, I feel like, to be successful, we need to either have a copyright reform, go back to those 14 years, or a total of 28 years. Or make exemptions for people who are trying to preserve this media. And this isn't just media. This is our heritage. This is our culture. This is our collective culture as human beings. And if we don't do something to act, we could very well lose this. And this isn't just something that's hypothetical. We've seen this happen with our own eyes due to copyright law. We've lost so many silent films, so many movies from the silent film era. Not because we didn't have them, not because they became displaced, so we have lost some because of that as well, but we lost these because we couldn't legally preserve them because of the copyright term. And so they were left to waste away. Even though we had them, they were left to waste away. And so these precious works of a bygone era, a part of our culture, are lost forever because of the copyright law, unfortunately. And every day, there seems to be more and more lost media added. It's a growing trend. It's something I am kind of interested in, but not to get sidetracked here. But, lost media sometimes gets recovered and it gets lost again because of copyright law. It gets taken down, and so now no longer has it. Now no one no longer has it anymore, unfortunately. And this has happened before in the quest to preserve media. So I really think that if copyright law isn't reformed or an exemption isn't made for people who are trying to preserve this media, I feel like it's going to suffer greatly. And as a result of many passionate individuals, it's going to be something that's going to go underground. I feel like, and I feel like people who sail the seven seas, I feel like they do a good job of preserving stuff. And that's probably where it's going to have to end up going if these trends continue. And lastly, Khan asks, do you think the internet as we know it will still exist in 10 years' time? And that's a damn good question. I don't think so. I think either one or two things are going to happen. Either it's going to become more centralized or it's going to become much more decentralized. One of those two things happen, one of those two extremes is going to happen, and I'm not sure which one. I hear a lot of people talking about the internet is collapsing and that the internet as a whole is heading towards a new era of decentralization. Also, on the other hand, I've heard arguments that it's going in the opposite direction, that social media is getting stronger and other sites, older sites, are dying out. And so I'm not so sure which way this is going to go, but I definitely think it's going to be one or the other. I don't see it staying the same as it is now. Honestly, I'm not even sure which way I would like it to go either. On the one hand, as much as I demonize social media, I do enjoy social media because I met so many wonderful people there, such as yourself. On the other hand, I do miss that kind of lawless era of the internet. This kind of decentralized era where everybody kind of had their own website, and things were much more free form. I do kind of miss that as well. So I don't know, fam. I don't know. I probably would lean on the decentralized more because as I get older and as I learn more, I tend to distrust, big tech and how they're ever present in our lives, spying on us, listening to us, reading our messages, advertising to us. So, yeah, I definitely think it's going to be one or the other. Alright, so thank you very much, Loot Moth and Zarkon. Thank you so much to both of you for making this video possible. I would have been lost without you both, and I probably wouldn't have a video this week if not for the two of you. So thank you both so much. And next week, I'm hoping to be back with a much more formal video, perhaps 2 videos next week, as next week is when the scheduled next congressional UAP hearing is set to happen. So there may be a second video next week, so be on the lookout for that. And hopefully next week, these audio issues that have plagued me today won't be happening. I got a new mouse. It's a wireless mouse, and I think maybe it has caused some interference with my mic. Did some adjustments halfway through the video, and things seem like they're working better. So we're hoping that, that this is a fix for that. So regardless, this has been a fun video. Many good questions to consider today. And it's always fun to do something like this every once in a while. Special thanks to Fran, who does a wonderful job of doing my art. A special thanks to all of my friends on Twitter. I wouldn't be here without you all. And a special thanks to all of you for watching this video. Please like this video if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. And please leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. And if you like my videos, please turn your notifications on and subscribe. Until next time, fam, remember, just be yourself and you'll be awesome. Peace out.